maybe there are people out there, maybe there's a couple out there that you look at, or you even think about what we're saying today and you think a do-over. But we want to just stop you there and say, hey, regardless of the mess that you're in, regardless of how bad it may look, again, that passage where Jeremiah is reminded, he said, but then I remember your compassions, they fail not. Your mercies new every morning. And Lord, you are faithful. And God is faithful to, if you'll allow him the room, if you'll give God the space, give him the room.
Thanks for joining the Home Matters Podcast with Eric and Gena Boggs, where they lead authentic, raw discussions about marriage, family life, kids, intimacy, and sex from a biblical perspective. Here's your host, Eric and Gena Boggs.
Well, hello, listeners out there. It's Home Matters Podcast time.
Yep.
Right?
Right in the middle of winter.
Yeah, like it's called the dog days of summer. What do you call winter?
The frigid tundra of winter.
Oh, you just made that up.
Isn't right cold? We've had some winter weather.
Yeah.
And we kind of like that.
You love it, don't you?
Yep, we do.
I don't mind it for a little bit. I like a snow or two, but then I get ready for the beach.
Yeah. I like the beach too, but I don't like the 95-degree weather.
No, he never likes that. He never likes that.
I don't like it much above 80 as far as the temperature. Either way, I'm good. I'm thankful either way.
That's right. Thankful, grateful.
Yep.
Blessed.
Yeah, and as we start into the thought today, you know, your home and your family, your marriage, all that stuff, it matters so much. And, you know, we're living in a world that's kind of challenging in some ways.
Absolutely. Challenging, I think, to home and to family.
Yep.
Obviously. Man, it's just, what's another word for challenge? I don't want to say it's hard. I hate to say it's hard. I mean, sometimes I guess family life is hard. Marriage can be hard.
Challenge.
I was just trying to think of another word other than challenge that maybe wasn't as negative sounding as hard, but sometimes it's a struggle. That's a good word. Sometimes it's a struggle, and you know, man, how do you overcome the challenges, the stresses, the things that are always working against us? Because there is a lot that works against us. I mean, we work against ourselves sometimes, don't you think? In just our own humanity, we just kind of work against the whole process of marriage and family.
And you know, kind of a environment that we're in today, again, is kind of challenging to that. That's family, true. You know, when it comes to the family unit, the nuclear family, so to speak, that's something that has been under some, I hate to use these strong words too, I guess, assault.
Now you're hesitating, right?
You know, the world around us is kind of hostile toward traditional biblical marriage and family. And with that, it makes us recognize. And again, I know that we deal with those things. But then, you know, and I think we can get so caught up with a lot of that stuff. We're not careful. We miss the front line of that is what is going on with us and how we work together and how we live together and how we nurture together and love together. All that stuff matters. And
how we navigate all
we can
that.
get so caught up on the outside if we're not careful that we forget the things that are basic to a healthy, productive home and in the world we live in.
That's what we're supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
Healthy, and productive, and many of you probably heard us say it before, a benefit to society, to your community, to your church. Yeah,
if you're raising kids out there, we always say we're not trying to raise perfect kids, but productive kids, right? And not one of them are perfect as that little angel may be right now. You'll find out real quick that, you know, they're all subject to their humanity. And,
not just the kids, right?
That's right. No. But I mean, sometimes we look at children, our little children, and think they're so
innocent,
innocent, and they are to the degree that they don't understand even when they do things. But it's just like we heard earlier about our little 1-year-old granddaughter that had to confess to her mother she'd been pushing her cousin, and and really wasn't that big of a deal after all. But again, she just does that out of her humanity.
That's right.
A sweet little, beautiful little child is subject to being a human being.
They will act just like it, right?
David said we're born in iniquity. That means we all got this twistedness about
even
us.
Those sweet little babies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But how in all of that, it's kind of what we want to hit today. How do we navigate all that? How do we stay together? All right, couples, husband, wife. How do you overcome the challenges so that, you're not a statistic of divorce or separation, but, that years in, you've made it. You say, hey, we've survived.
Yeah.
How as a family do you hold it together?
In spite of all the frustrations and the aggravations, again, as perfect as you are, there are times that you can kind of frustrate me.
Now.
Yeah, I'm just saying that as perfect as you are, there are times that you can show
I'm not so perfect, right?
Your humanity and
show my humanity.
The whole thing of your wiring and the way you're made and created, and as a woman, as a female.
You don't get it, do you?
There are times that can be so aggravating, and there are little things that we can pit against each other if we're not careful. And that's kind of what we're talking about. I mean, we have to deal with that and navigate all those
that's right.
differences, all of those things that we look back at and say, hey, we are 38 years in, and we've navigated through some time. Navigated through some difficult seasons, and even the little things sometime that we can make, the mountain out of the molehill kind of thing. And I think a lot of couples get stuck there, where the little things that aggravate us or frustrate us. I think they get stuck there
more so sometimes than the big things. It's just the day in, the day out, the grind, the frustration that continues to build, and the disappointment maybe that continues to build. We never move past those things.
That's right.
And as you said, we just get stuck there. So that kind of leads to, what we're going to hit at today, the whole idea really of starting over, right? Now, wait, we're not talking about starting over with someone else. All right, not a new spouse. We're talking about starting over every day in this relationship, and like a clean slate.
You use the word starting over. Can I use the word do over today?
Yeah, I like that.
Because
do over.
Yeah, because there's there's places in life that you just need to start new and start fresh, just like getting a do over.
Yeah.
And the good news is every day you get a do over.
Thank God.
You can.
Right?
I'm not saying that you just completely neglect the things that maybe you can do different, or that y'all can do different, or you can as a parent do different. But I am saying this, that God's word's very clear that we do get do-overs. And
absolutely.
Again, that passage of scripture you've got in the notes there, you want to read it and talk to us about it?
I love it. Lamentations 3. Come on, a lot of you know it. 22:23 says, through the Lord's mercies we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They're new every morning.
Every day.
Great is thy faithfulness. Man, I'm so thankful for a God that, his love never runs out. His mercy's new every day. His grace is extended to my life. And, as a follower of Jesus, I'm to pattern my life after that. Yep. And man, in this relationship, it's a challenge sometimes, but I do believe that we're to offer new grace and new mercy.
Can I preach a little bit right here? Can I get a little preachy?
You can, yeah.
I want to contextualize that passage because, again, just in case you don't know what we're reading from, Lamentations is a book. It's written by the prophet Jeremiah.
Yeah.
And Jeremiah is a prophet in a time, where the southern kingdom in particular of Israel is about to fall. They are fallen. They're already under siege, and it's a mess. Mm-hmm. The whole city of Jerusalem, his home, is a mess. It's a wreck. And, as he looks at that mess, he's walking around. And prior to this passage, he says things like, Lord, you've caused us pain. You've caused me pain. It's like one of the places I love this. He said, it's like chewing gravel.
Chewing gravel. I love that too.
It's breaking my teeth. And if you've ever had a broken tooth, you know the pain of that. But I wanted to say this. Maybe there are people out there, maybe there's a couple out there that you look at, or you even think about what we're saying today, and you think a do-over. Dear God, I need a what do they call it when they do the
total
makeovers?
makeover?
Yeah, the makeovers. We need a makeover. You may be thinking, I need another spouse. But we want to just stop you there and say, hey, regardless of the mess that you're in, regardless of how bad it may look, again, that passage where Jeremiah is reminded, he said, but then I remember your compassions, they fail not. Your mercies new every morning. And Lord, you are faithful. And God is faithful to, if you'll allow him the room, if you'll give God the space, give him the room, I do believe that things can make a turn, and regardless of how bad it looks, wake up tomorrow and say, hey, we get a do-over. We're going to start.
That's right. It's a brand new day, right? It's a new day. It's a new start. We're starting over today. And man, I mean, in decades of marriage ministry, I'm telling you, there have been some situations that we've seen that, just in myself, I'm like, I'm not sure there's a lot of hope there. But man, in realizing what God can do and in seeing through time what he's done. You're one
of those people.
That's right. And seeing what God has done in our own life. Listen, there have been times when, man, it's been a God thing, right? It's what God can do. And again, we're not saying that you as a spouse, if you're taking advantage of what we're saying right now and you're like, well, I just screwed it up today, but you just need to get past it and get over it. And let's just start. If that's your continual process in your thought, then, God help you, right?
Yeah, maybe you're the one that needs to stop and realize. And again, it's something that I think that all of us can relate to, regardless. Like I said, we've been through times, other people. But what we do want to encourage you is there's a new day, there's a new start, there's a clean slate.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying that you negate or you just ignore the fact that there are things you need to get straightened out, but
that's right.
There's a place that you can start new today and say, you know what, it has not been good. The last 5 years, they have not been good. But 2025, we're going to make it a year that we push forward, that we're going to make progress.
Good. That's right.
That we're going to grow, that our relationship.
And we're going to do some things differently, right? It shouldn't be that we have to wake up every day and say, okay, we got to start over again today.
Right.
I mean, if that's where you are, there's some real needed changes that you need to face in your relationship, personally and as a couple. But what we are saying is that God offers us every day new grace, new mercy, a new start, a new day. And in that, we can follow that pattern and not get caught in those things we were talking about early on in the podcast, not get caught in those things that just hold us.
If you're closing every day down and there's issues that you're not trying to at least acknowledge or deal with.
That's right.
I always say issues don't get better if you're not willing to confront those things. If you're not willing to deal with those things or acknowledge them and find the grace to move past that. We know what the scripture says in Ephesians 4. It says that we're not to let the sun go down on our wrath. In other words, we don't need to let a day in where we're angry and mad at each other.
And that's so important in your life in general, but I think in the life of your relationship, your marriage.
Sure.
I mean, that's foundational, that you find a place where every day you deal with those things that would like to stick around.
That should be a principle that we live by, though.
Every day.
That we're not going to bed. Right. I've done that a couple of times in 38 years, and I say that with honesty, only a couple of times. And the reason it's only happened a couple of times is I hated the feeling of that. I hated the feeling of trying to sleep that way. I hated the feeling of waking up the next day with being angry or having this chip on my shoulder. Or this feeling in my life toward my wife. And again, what we're saying is you cannot allow, that ought to be a principle that you put in your life.
That's right.
That if you have to stay up late, the sleep you'll get after that will be better.
It'll be sweet rest, right?
Hopefully it will be.
Sweet rest.
If you need to get somebody to help facilitate or you need counseling through, if it's big issues, again, hopefully you haven't waited to the end of the day, but again, you start somewhere.
That's right.
That's what we're saying. And a good place to start, to realize there's newness every day, is to end right.
That's right. I think that's so important that we make sure we don't allow those little things. We said it from the start. A lot of times it's just those little things. And when you try to go back and figure out, how did we get to this desperate, ridiculous place we're in? A lot of times couples can't even remember what little things started it. What feeling it was they had, what aggravation or frustration, because we allow those to continue to build and build and build and build a wall up in our marriage. So we're saying every night, Ephesians 4:26, take that as foundational for your relationship. Don't allow those things to hang around, because what happens if you continue to read that passage, it gives the enemy room in your relationship, in your marriage to operate.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it gives him place.
We got enough humanity that we're dealing with here just in ourselves without inviting the devil in.
That thought, that thought there, the thought is this: it cracks the door, it gives him space, it gives him room. We read a book in our discipleship called Reclaiming Surrendered Ground that is based on this principle here. And
giving up ground.
Yeah, what it means is we give ground to the enemy to operate. And when you give, listen, if you give somebody permission to come on your property and set a fire, if you give somebody room or permission to operate and maybe build a fire, maybe it's a good fire, maybe it's a campfire,
maybe they're burning trash.
Yeah, maybe they're. But if you give them room, then what happens from that? The results of that, you gave them permission. The same is true with our enemy.
Yeah.
When we give him permission, we give him legal jurisdiction. Can I say it that way? We give him room to operate. Then he can set up he can start all kind of chaos from
That's
that.
right. It multiplies, mushrooms, right?
And it's because we're all subject to sin
So
and the destruction of it. And we need to find ourselves at a place that we're willing to at least put in principle.
And when it comes to, go back to the passage we read at the start of our offering mercy and grace, why is it sometimes that we're so quickly we offer that everywhere but home?
Oh, Lord. So true.
I mean, I
think that's true, especially believers, church people.
Yeah, I mean, we give other people room.
Folks that are involved in church life, and I want to make sure I specify, I don't think that's true of a Christian life. It shouldn't be, but I think it can be so true of a church life where we're merciful and gracious and kind and compassionate to everybody else. And then we get home, and it's like, that's the last person we offer. Our children, they're the last people that we offer any room or grace or mercy. And boy, what a shame that when we can offer to everybody else and not offer to home, I ought to be just as forgiving and just as gentle with my spouse, with my wife, and my children.
I like that gentle
as I am to the people that I try to serve with. What'd you say?
I like that gentle part.
Yeah, I ought to be that way with my wife and my children. Again, there's strength in that there's meekness, that I offer to the ones that I know the best and love the most. I ought to be able to offer that to them. And I think it's a shame when that doesn't happen, especially, and again, most of our listeners are probably followers of Jesus. They're believers. What a shame if we can do that for everybody else and not offer that in our homes.
Yeah.
That should be part of the environment of our homes. That,
yes.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna give you another chance.
That's
give you another opportunity. I'm gonna let the mercies of God be real. We're gonna get a do-over, right?
Love it.
You say, well, how many do-overs do we give? I don't know. I mean, again, Peter asked that question to Jesus, and he said, how many times? 7 times. And it's customary at that time, 3 times you forgive somebody. But then Jesus said, no, not 7 times. Peter thought he was really doing good and saying 7 times. He said, no, not 7 times, but 70 times 7. And that was a number of infinity.
Yeah.
To Peter. That just
That's
blew his mind.
That's a lot of forgiveness. That's a lot of mercy. That's a lot of grace. And man, can I just say this? I guess we need to wrap up today, but a Christian, I'm talking to you, believer. The Holy Spirit in your life will enable you to do. That's what grace is all about. He enables us to do the things that we are not able to do on our own.
Right.
And you know, there are frustrations and aggravations and those things, and you just think, I can't offer anymore. I am done. You are toast.
I am at my end. Yeah. And again, I do understand when it's the people that you are the closest to, that you know the best.
Yes.
It is sometimes frustrating when you think they know better or should be better or whatever.
Right.
But with that, all we're saying is there's a starting place. We don't have time. Can we come back to this next time?
Absolutely. You join us next time, because we're just going to throw some things out there, maybe some things that we can do to start again. How do we make each day fresh?
We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points.
Yes.
We'll give you some
4 or 5.
takeaways. Yeah.
That's right.
That we can
join us next time.
That we can put in place to get a do-over.
That's right.
That will help our start-overs,
you give me a do-over?
Yep, every day. And with that, hey, your home matters so much.
Yes,
your family, your children, your marriage matters so much. And
let me say this: our room block at our hotel for Marriage Matters Getaway is gone now, but you can still register. Maybe find a room in that area if you would like to join us. Man, what a way!
Is that over
to
already? I thought it ended
over.
Today. The 15th. Is the room block over already?
The room block. No, we're the 15th. Last week.
Oh, okay. So it is over.
Yeah, it's over. It was over on the 17th, I think, exactly. But
17th. Okay.
Yeah. We're a few days past it, but man, if you can meet us there, maybe find another place to stay.
Yep.
Or call our church office. We might have some rooms available. I don't know.
Yeah. You can do that.
Come
go with us. Your marriage
Love
matters.
You so much. It does, man. That'd be a great do-over. Start over.
Yep.
That's right.
Hey, we'll see you next time. God bless you. Your home matters.